compensation. It would be up to some £10 billion, which we don't feel is fair or proportionate in terms of the use of public money.
Unless you actually confront that, no matter how many promises you make about what you're going to do, that's the reality that the markets are looking at.
How does it feel to betray millions of women? That's the question Labour MP Rushanara Ali couldn't answer in this cringeworthy TV interview. As she fumbled for words, the truth became painfully clear. Labour's support for the WASPI women was nothing more than a cynical ploy for votes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. But don't take our word for it. Watch the interview yourself and see the moment Ali's political career goes up in flames. It's a stark reminder of why trust in politicians is at an all-time low and why we need to hold them accountable.
We have been betrayed. The Daily Express saying Labour has betrayed our OAPs time after time.
Labour's journey from champions of the WASPI women to their biggest disappointment is a tale of broken promises and political manoeuvring that would make even Machiavelli blush. Remember those heartwarming photo ops with Rachel Reeves standing shoulder to shoulder with WASPI campaigners? Or Keir Starmer's impassioned pledge for fair and fast compensation? It seems those moments have faded faster than a politician's smile after Election Day. The Labour Party's initial support for the WASPI campaign was nothing short of enthusiastic. They positioned themselves as the saviours of 3.8 million women left in financial limbo by changes to the state pension age. Starmer himself declared it a huge injustice that needed to be rectified. But as we've seen time and time again in politics, promises are easier made than kept. Fast forward to the present, and Labour's tune has changed dramatically. The same Rachel Reeves, who once posed for solidarity shots, is now defending the decision to deny compensation. Her justification? It's not the best use of taxpayers' money.
Compensation. It would be up to some £10 billion, which we don't feel is fair or proportionate in terms of the use of public money.
This stark reversal has left many wondering if Labour's moral compass is as reliable as a pound shop watch. Let's talk numbers for a moment. The Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman recommended compensation of up to $2,950 for each affected woman. Multiply that by the millions impacted, and we're looking at a potential $10.5 billion payout. It's a figure that would make any chancellor's eyes water, regardless of their political stripes. But here's where it gets interesting. Labour's about-face isn't just a matter of pounds and pence. It's a calculated political gamble that's backfired spectacularly. By turning their backs on the WASPI women, they've alienated a significant voting bloc. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're real people who've been let down twice. First by the government that changed the rules, and now by the opposition that promised to fight for them. The fallout has been swift and brutal.
When the Chancellor says we wipe the slate clean, we're not coming back for any more tax rises, is that still true?
WASPI campaign leaders have branded the decision an insult, and Labour MPs are scrambling to distance themselves from the mess. It's a political own goal of epic proportions, leaving Labour's credibility in tatters and raising questions about who they really represent. The stage was set for a political showdown that would make even the most seasoned politicians squirm. Rushanara Ali, Labour MP, found herself in the hot seat facing Sky News presenter Kay Burley. The atmosphere crackled with tension, as Burley, known for her no-nonsense approach, prepared to grill Ali on Labour's sudden about-face regarding WASPI women compensation.
Given that some 90% of those affected.
As the cameras rolled, it became clear that this wasn't going to be your run-of-the-mill political interview. This was a trial by fire, and Ali was walking into the flames unprepared. From the moment Ali appeared on screen, her body language betrayed her discomfort. Tense and visibly on edge, she seemed to shrink under Burley's piercing gaze. It was as if she knew what was coming, but hoped against hope that she could somehow dodge the incoming barrage of questions. Spoiler alert, she couldn't.
The reality is this has been a very difficult issue for those affected, and it's deeply regrettable, and lessons will need to be learned.
Burley, ever the skilled interviewer, wasted no time in laying bare the contradictions at the heart of Labour's stance. "Can you understand why people don't believe a word you say?" she asked, her voice dripping with skepticism. It was a question that cut to the core of Labour's credibility crisis, and Ali's response, or lack thereof, spoke volumes. As Ali fumbled for words, desperately trying to reconcile her party's past promises with their current position, Burley pressed harder. The interview quickly devolved into a verbal sparring match, with both women talking over each other in a heated exchange. But while Burley seemed to grow stronger with each interruption, Ali appeared to be sinking deeper into political quicksand.
Unless you actually confront that, no matter how many promises you make about what you're going to do, that's the reality that the markets are looking at.
The most damaging moments came when Ali attempted to justify Labour's decision. Her evasions and non-answers only served to highlight the stark contrast between the party's previous rhetoric and their current actions. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, painful yet impossible to look away from. As the interview progressed, it became increasingly clear that Ali was fighting a losing battle. Her attempts to deflect criticism fell flat, and her inability to provide clear, convincing answers only fueled public outrage.
Reset our finances, she fixed the foundations, and now I am sitting here on the cusp of announcing an investment programme into our country.
Social media exploded with reactions, and they weren't kind. "Labour are not electable," one viewer exclaimed, capturing the sentiment of many who watched Ali's performance with a mix of frustration and disbelief. The intensity of the interview drew comparisons to other political grillings, like Lisa Nandy's recent appearance on Good Morning Britain. But while Nandy managed to hold her own against tough questioning, Ali's performance seemed to crumble under the weight of Labour's contradictions. The Rushanara Ali interview isn't just a political misstep, it's a glaring symptom of a deeper malaise infecting British politics. With public trust in politicians plummeting to new lows, Labour's WASPI debacle couldn't have come at a worse time. Recent polls show a mere 18% of respondents have faith in Labour's ability to deliver on its promises. It's a stark reminder that in an era of instant information and social media scrutiny, political parties can't simply sweep broken promises under the rug. But what's the real cost of this erosion of trust? It's not just about Labour's electoral chances, it's about the very foundations of our democracy.
Chancellor speaks, she speaks for government, and my job is to make sure that I put her words into action. So I am keeping a tight grip on my own department.
When citizens lose faith in their representatives, they disengage from the political process altogether. The ramifications of this disengagement could be far-reaching, potentially reshaping the political landscape for years to come. Can Labour recover from this self-inflicted wound? Or is this the beginning of a seismic shift in British politics? The answer may lie in how they respond to this crisis. Will they double down on their current stance, or will they find a way to reconcile their past promises with their present actions. One thing's for certain: the British public is watching, and they're not in a forgiving mood.